Hi, everyone. I'm Sandra Ingerman, and I want to welcome you to the Shamans Cave.
And I'm Renee Baribeau, and we are both excited to be here today. And we're going to talk about a very important topic. It's about reconnecting ourselves to life. And I know, I know you probably all are having this experience no matter where you're living, unless you're so at peace in the forest somewhere and you have to come out of the woods to hear our weekly shaman's call, which make sure you hit subscribe so you get up to date when we have a new one, and hit like because YouTube really likes that and it helps support our show. But there's this, so as for me, as this dissolution, which is a natural process of nature, things break down. And in the breaking down, some of the elements are reconverted into nitrogen and oxygen. This is the natural cycle of things. And then they can give birth, through seeds and through, pollination and cross pollination into new life forms. And so many of us keep getting tossed back into the frozen state, like the state of the dissolution, the breaking down. You could get lost in that breaking down for a long, long time, or you could start to see what good strands or what good seeds come from this, and start to reconnect and rebuild in your life in a new it's going to be a very new and new different way. And so we thought we would talk about some of the things that we've been doing to reconnect and reinform our lives as we move forward.
Yeah, it's a big issue for people. Both Renee and I hear from a lot of people that are engaged in our own teaching, and right now in the more elderly population, and this has always been true. We have a lot of single women who either haven't been in relationship, uh, don't have families right now, and or lost a partner, and so trying to get back into some routine that feeds one's life right now, as the times have been a little bit tricky for some of us. Some people have just reconnected. They've just gone back to life,
Hmm.
and this isn't an issue for them at all. There are people who are traveling a lot. I'm doing some, but I am journeying and being somewhat cautious. And so, but what's happening is that for people who didn't jump back into life and say, I don't care, I'm just going to live my life, I don't care what happens, is we kind of got frozen.
Hmm.
Some people are, and I've used this word, I'm not using it at the moment, but I've used it for a while, feeling like I'm a shut-in, that I have to stay home, which is not true. And seeing crowds, and do I want to be out with crowds, and what decisions do I want to make? And so there's so many of us who are trying to figure out how to reconnect.
Hmm.
And of course, taking courses has been one way for people to reconnect. I do believe that people are starting to feel that an online connection isn't enough, that they actually want human contact in the flesh. And so people are finding more safer ways to do that. And so, um, we want to give you an experience of how you can reconnect at this particular point, and what's going on for you at this particular point, because it's a tricky time.
Hmm.
People who are emailing me, they're doing well, and then they're not, and they're doing well, and then they're not, and we're all trying to find our way right now.
And I think, like you talked about on the last show, it was a big step out to go to the James Taylor concert. You had to really, and this is how it is whenever you make a big change, you have to make a decision. And then, sometimes like the universe, whenever you make a decision to go forward, in the wind, the wind will give you kickback. It'll give a pushback because sometimes that pushback is like, yeah, I'm going to go through this storm and get to the other side of it. But especially for a lot of us, I've been alone for like 20 years. I mean, I have really some real close, significant relationships. So, but it was really easy to hop on an airplane and go to New York and go see clients in New York and go to, wherever I want to go, to Mexico or to go to all of those places. And then we get, boom, bang, a shutdown. And then last year when we did our retreat in Maine, all of a sudden there was a resurgence of COVID and 5 people dropped out from the retreat. It was like, it went from, wow, this is going to be a really great, successful, like, break even retreat to, oh my God, everyone's leaving. And this year it feels like the people who I have a retreat in October, right now we have a solid group of 20 and they're coming. It's not like, that they're really getting out, they're really getting away. But I'm sure for some of those people, it's a real, something really to overcome, like to get in the car, to go and be with people. How am I going to be with people? How am I going to move from, especially as single people, it gets really comfortable being in our own isolation because I would imagine that most of us are a little bit on the isolating scale to start with, and getting in the community took some work, and now we got the community and now we got back to the isolation, and it's like, how do we jump over that hurdle one more time so that we don't spend the next 20 years at home alone?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And yeah, it's definitely a very tricky time right now, and people really do have to go in and make appropriate choices for themselves. But as Renee was saying, how do we get ourselves back out there again? And sometimes it's making a choice to go somewhere and hopefully maybe there's a friend who you can go out with, and it's like, holding hands and starting to see the world all over again from a place of innocence in some way. And that has its own magic in itself. And I know that people are really feeling the reconnection happening with nature, which could be one of the reasons of why we needed so much isolation and why we needed so much shutdown, because climate change is now climate change is now the issue that has been affecting us for a really long time, but now people are realizing that we've just ignored it and just let it go. And so people are getting more magic of being out in nature right now. Just an amazing amount of magic of being out in nature right now. It's amazing the posts that people are writing on Facebook. So that I think that was one of the reasons for the isolation, was to reconnect us with the natural world. And that's fine if that's what people want to do. But what we're also talking about is having community and reconnecting with our communities again and taking it step by step, and and realizing that you have power in this situation, and going down to your solar plexus and feeling the color of the energy field in your solar plexus, and feel it expand and what color it is, and realize you have some power, and that will give you the strength to maybe take that first move out into the world.
Absolutely. And I would love to make a suggestion that you this week, not like I'm going to get to it in a month, but this week, if you haven't been out of your house or you haven't been somewhere with other people, why don't you make a commitment like to have an artist date? They used to be artist date by yourself, but now we've spent so much time alone that you make an artist date to actually go out and have a lunch, a dinner. I mean, because I know myself, I can be quite self sufficient, but it was really good for me yesterday to call up a friend at the last minute, say, hey, you want to meet me for lunch? Because I could tell I was getting batshit crazy.
Right.
And just to get out of that for long enough to have a shift in perspective changed my entire day. Because otherwise I get going down that road like near, 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 and this is all the near, 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 near. And, I know that that's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what spirit's calling from me.
Right.
And, you know, my crazy cat. uh,
We love
but
Sammy.
yeah, Sami's great. And Sami means energy. And, I swear our pets have become more human in the last couple of years, but they're not, they don't go for like, when's the last time I met somebody for dinner?
Yeah.
I was, and I will have to watch myself. A couple of weeks ago, there was the Island County Fair was going on, and this is me. Well, I'd really like to go to the Island County Fair and walk around and be with people. Oh, but right now there's so much COVID on the island. I don't want to get sick. I mean, I just think we've got to get beyond that attitude because, if you read the news, the next virus is right on the tail of this one. And then I'm sure the next virus is going to be right on the tail of that one. So what are we going to do? Are we just going to hide away forever or are we going to risk, and connect? So I'm about risking and connecting.
I'm about wearing a mask and connecting.
Yes, and so that's a risk too, like a safety risk, but you still are about let's get out there and you get to
Mhm.
do it your way.
Right.
So, and there's no judgment about that at all. And every grocery store I go to, you get to do it your way.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
nobody's giving you a look or nobody's like, oh, that person's got a mask on or that person doesn't have a mask on. It's like if nothing else has happened in this last few years is that we've learned some compassion to hold each other's differences a little bit more firm because we've had to. There's like, and it's not even as feeling as polarizing as it was a year ago. So I think we are through a good part of the bump. You think?
I tend to be an optimist on some things, but I see us moving to a place where we understand oneness more and not so much separation. And we're still in that separation stage. Who's wearing a mask? Who isn't? We're still in that separation stage. So I kind of feel like once we get more into a place of acceptance that people are taking care of themselves in the way that they want and that we're really all one, there actually is not that many differences. That's where life is moving us towards. So every place where we feel separate, that's what life is going to go after us and try to give us a lesson. So that's just my feeling. Is we're still dividing too much. We're are you vaccinated? Are you wearing a mask? And there's all these separate categories of people. And that's not where the planet is taking us right now. That's all I have to say. And the sooner we get the message, the sooner we open up our hearts, the sooner we stop judging each other, that's when life will change. And that's when we'll get over that next bump. That's what I see.
Okay. So what we were going to do today is I was going to call in a wind to help us maybe move over a bump. I
Mhm.
like that. We'll take a little windy magic carpet ride over a bump and see if we can just Move over a bump. How do you like that?
I love, I would love to move over a bump. I'm with you.
All right, well, let's see what wind wants to come and play with us. And so not all of you know that I wrote this book called Winds of Spirit. And in there's 32 winds, and there's also the cardinal winds, and there's actually a couple of no winds. And so we're going to call to a wind. I have some wind spirit cards here, and I'm going to pull a wind. And let's see. Oh, I love this particular one. Fang Popo, the Chinese wind of harmony, and it's about striving for balance. So one of the great exercises that I like to do with her is that she rides on the back of a tiger and she carries her wind sack. A lot of the winds in the mythologies were carried in sacks. And what Fang Popo will do is she will come down and she will collect up energy and take it out beyond the cosmos, transmute it into light and love, and she will help us move through a next bump. So I invite you to close your eyes and consider what obstacle is the biggest obstacle standing in your way right now. It could be personally, professionally, health-wise, whatever that challenge is for you that's causing you disharmony and frustration and not alignment and all of those, or separation. And take that next obstacle, and if you have two that come right to you, that's fine too. And then write it on the air, write it in the air, whatever it is. So I'm going to write my obstacle on the wall of the air. And then we're going to call to Madame Thung Popo, and she's going to come down on her tiger, and she's going to go right around the whole circle and gather up this obstacle for you. And she's going to take it, and then together we're going to take it out past the cosmos, transmute it all to light and love, and we're going to get to move forward collectively. All right, are you done writing? All right, Madam Feng Popo. See her coming down with her on the back of that tiger. She's collecting all of this heaviness, all of these obstacles, all of these separate ideas. And now we're going to take that very, very heavy bag and we're going to ride on the back of that tiger and go out past the furthest galaxy. And we're going to transmute it in light and love with the help of Feng Popo. And now scan your body from your feet up to the top of your head and look in that solar plexus that Sandra was talking about. What color is it? What is the color of the connection for you? And let's ask Feng Popo to connect all of us in a unified circle. And on this final wind breath, we're going to come back to the room. and feel the lightness of your being in connection and in harmony and in community. Aho.
That was beautiful, Renee. I could I I could just really feel the energy of the wind really just scooping out my obstacle, and I really wasn't expecting that. So that was really nice. I appreciate that.
Awesome. So the winds spirit are with us at all the time, and they're really prevalent right now as we go through this tumultuous time of change. And if you're lost, call to Mari 3 times and she will come. You know, I invite you to try that, or call to Madame Feng Popo to come down with her on her tiger and scoop up something for you. She will come. You know, we're really fortunate that we can have these direct revelations with these wind spirits, and really to remove those obstacles so we can come back together in harmony and community.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you, Renee, for leading that amazing exercise for us, that wonderful practice. And those of you who haven't gotten Renee's book, The Winds of Spirit and A Wind Whistle, uh, that might be something really beautiful to add to your practice, because it puts in the physicality of it. It's not just what some people do in their shamanic journeys as an out of body experience. It really puts you into your body when you do it. So it's something that you might want to consider. And we just want to make sure that everybody understands that Renee and I are both healthy, everything's going fine. But like everybody, we need to take vacations sometimes, we need to take some time off. So this is summer, and so we are doing some replays, and nothing tragic happened to either of us. We were taking care of what we wanted to take care of in life. And so, if you're getting confused about what program is coming up or if we're doing a replay, really the way that you'll find out about that is if you join our email list. And we only email about the shows. And to subscribe and like, I promise you, nobody is collecting your personal information. You're just letting YouTube know that you like the show and that you're subscribed and that you're trying to support Renee and I. So that's my little pep talk for us moving forward together as a community. And we really love doing the shows. And so we're constantly looking at how we can deepen them. We're constantly looking at the energies that our spirits are talking to us about. And as our spirits keep talking to us about the change of energies, we will be sharing any information that's coming through. And if you're inspired to share any direct revelation, not from somebody else, but from your spirits or from the wind, it would be great to read your comments on the Shaman's Cave. So thank you, everyone, and I send you many blessings, and thank you, Renee, for that beautiful exercise.
Thank you.